Being here so early. I'm very proud to be able to talk before you. And I think the subject that we're going to have today is very critical in the sense that it is time now to wake up. You've woken up very early, so I'm sure you're waking up. We are probably now able to reverse aging more than ever. It's not anymore 3, 4, 5 years back. It is now certainly already possible to reverse aging totally 15 years, and maybe we'll be able to go much further. And this will be the underlying theme, because the consequence will be that possibly we'll be able, at least some of you will be able to live 40 years longer than normally expected, based on the data.
All right, so we're turning the corner now. 3 more lectures. I'm going to speak a little bit about epigenetics, chronic inflammation, complex chronic disease, and some of the restorative powers of fitness. My name is Dr. Jamie Wright. I'm a board-certified OBGYN. I haven't practiced that for about 5 years. I have a master's in metabolic and nutritional medicine, and my career really focuses now on population health, which has been an iteration from, say, population health now and then corporate wellness, and then doing metabolic and nutritional medicine within the manufacturing setting and trying to apply some of these really complicated sort of systems that we learn in functional medicine or the A4M to individuals to deal with some of the chronic disease problems. How many of you feel like you're really experts in functional medicine or integrative medicine here? 1.
Well, good afternoon, everybody. It's always great to be the first presentation after lunch when everyone has a nice full belly. So I'm glad that it's freezing cold in here, and we can talk a little bit about psychological vigor. So when I talk about vigor, one of the things that I like to talk about right up front is the fact that when you improve psychological vigor in somebody, it literally is life-changing for that patient or that client. It's not just, I'll give you a definition of vigor in a moment, but it's not just that they feel more energetic or that their depression lifts or that their brain fog goes away. Vigor is a very uniquely kind of motivational energy. It's an actionable kind of a feeling. People feel good enough where they want to get up and do something with that newfound feeling that might have been lost before. There was a talk this morning about psychological burnout, and burnout and vigor are very often described in opposite terms. So if your vigor is low, your burnout is high, and we can measure them in very, very objective, reproducible ways. So here you can see the definition of vigor: a 3-tiered sustained mood state characterized by physical energy.
Really transitioning and understanding nutraceuticals. I've been spending obviously the last 15 to 18 years studying nutritional therapies, but in the last 3 or 4 years I've really focused in on the leveraging of lifestyle medicine, understanding the mechanisms behind them, and for a number of different reasons I think it helps understand, really helps the broader picture of what you guys are doing on a daily basis. But really, as a father, and these are my 2 youngest children, this is something that I'm training my children to understand, really a lifetime of health. So 75% represents what most people think is the chronic disease burden that is driven by poor lifestyle choices. So we think that perhaps 75% of chronic disease may be reversible if we change our lifestyle decisions and perhaps some environmental exposure. But 75% is also the number of physician office visits that involve a prescription medication. So clearly there's somewhat of a disconnect in our understanding of what causes disease and how we should be treating disease conditions. So really, if greater than 75% of chronic metabolic diseases, especially when we think of...
Our next speaker is Dr. Deanna Minich. Dr. Minich is a functional medicine-trained clinician and researcher with a unique approach to clinical medicine that combines physiology and psychology. She is trained in functional medicine for the past decade with the father of functional medicine, who I'm sure you know, Dr. Jeffrey Bland, who is her mentor, and has served on the Institute of Functional Medicine's Nutrition Advisory Board and Curriculum Committee, in addition to being a faculty member and teaching nutrition for the Advanced Practice Module for Detoxification. Her academic background is in nutritional science, including a master's degree in human nutrition and dietetics from the University of Illinois in Chicago and a PhD in medical sciences and nutrition from the University of Groningen in, I hope I said that right, in the Netherlands. In conjunction with her academic degrees and extensive teaching experience at the university level, she is both a fellow and a certified nutrition specialist through the American Academy of Nutrition. And welcome, Dr. Minich.
Dr. Gersh, thank you so much. It was a mouthful. Okay, so for ease, so that everybody can see me, I'm just going to stand up here on the stage, but I really do want to open this up to many different questions and discussion. I'm going to reserve some time towards the end.
$100+ million settlement. And we also hear things like this from the White House: unless brutality and danger to the lives of players is reduced materially, the sport is practically doomed. And players suffer grave on-field injuries, and medical doctors prescribe euthanasia for football, and politicians make a federal case out of the game. And I can talk to that. I testified in 2 congressional committees on football a few years back. Never before has a football season ended amid such a universal chorus of denunciation of the game. Football is a grave menace that merits immediate abolition. How many in here, before I continue, would allow your son to play football? I see one hand go up. Would anybody allow their son to play football? Well, I'm not going to take a position on this. I obviously have a bias that I'll share with you as we go along. But these words were said in 1905.
Concussion from a 4-year-old hitting her over the head in a bat, and lots of concussions from car accidents. Head-butting by soccer is a concussion, the equivalent of a boxing punch. Hypertension pounds the brain. It is almost a pseudo-concussion with age. Individuals that headbutt in soccer, I've seen a lot of PET scan encephalopathies. This is the so-called facts that are given out by the United States Division, National Center of Injury Prevention and Control. They say 75% of all people have mild concussion. Maybe, but in our practice, only 25% are reporting it. It's an interesting difference. I'm not certain that this gets back to the whole idea of an electronic data bank. Somehow or another, we're not keeping track of our traumatic brain injuries. I don't even like the word concussion. I don't like the word growth hormone. I like to call growth hormone repair hormone. I don't like the word mild cognitive impairment. I like to think of it as thought impairments of aging, thinking impairments of aging. I don't like words that don't help patients. The word concussion has been used that people think they recover from it so much that they are confused that they have lifelong anxiety and depression and lower growth hormone, testosterone, estrogen levels, pituitary damage. Concussions right